Disturbing news. Very disturbing. Yet, it has a solid reason behind the madness. We are referring to the physical violence in some states against staff members, or shopkeepers, or salesmen who cannot, or do not, speak the state language. We do not, we repeat, do not, support violence. We do not support taking the law into one's own hands, especially for so mundane, trivial a purpose as the choice of language for communication. Yet we must remember one thing. No matter how weak and timid a creature is, this is the universal law of nature. When you push it into a corner, its survival instinct supersedes its mortal fear, and it will turn aggressive with unprecedented ferocity. This is what's happening in Mumbai and Telangana, and could soon spread like wildfire to other places if the mindless fanaticism and bigotry continues its relentless onslaught. The keen protective attitude to safeguard one's linguistic and cultural identity is quite a natural one. It is even a positively desirable quality. In India, a land of linguistic secularism, every citizen is entitled to keenly and zealously protect their religious, cultural, and language identity. But what has triggered the violence? While reiterating our condemnation for any violence whatsoever, the blame for this lies with the central governments, both the present and the previous dispensations. Now and earlier, whatever be the ruling party or coalition in power, the centre has always had a nefarious agenda to impose Hindi throughout India. And purely for an ulterior motive, Hindi belt sends the largest number of MPs to the Lok Sabha. It is often said that the way to Delhi is via UP, meaning winning maximum seats in UP is the key to get majority in the Lok Sabha. This hidden agenda went against the constitutional federalism and linguistic secularism, and it is no wonder that people reacted strongly to this unwanted encroachment upon the health and survival of their language and culture. However, some of the reports are misrepresented or clearly tweaked to make people upset or angry. The physical attack on a bank's staff member was attributed to his inability to speak Marathi. While a violence is not justifiable under any circumstances whatsoever, the reaction was not against his inability to speak Marathi, but against his arrogant attitude of disrespect towards Marathi. He did not say he was newly transferred and yet to learn Marathi. He abused it by saying, Marathi gaya del lene. Similar was the case in Bengaluru, where a shopkeeper was reported to assault a customer over the language issue. Does it sound even plausible? A businessman, such as a shopkeeper, would have his priority defined, namely, to convince his customer and sell his wares, rather than indulge in arguments about Hindi versus Kannada. And it was indeed the case. Arguments about the language were collateral, they arose much later. The initial dispute was over a different issue. In a federal pluralism and pluralistic federalism, every language, religion, and culture must be respected and encouraged. Every state must promote the regional language, and the centre must always encourage and staunchly stand by every state in support of this endeavour. But, when the centre wants to impose Hindi through backdoor, for ulterior political designs, local resistance is inevitable. People keen to preserve their linguistic identity are justly enraged when the same is sought to be bulldozed by an insensitive central government. In pandering to Hindi imperialists, several central governments have so shamelessly tried to override the regional aspirations that many nitwits believe Hindi to be the national language. Nothing could be more irrational or ludicrous. And, add to that, some political party, or dongi babas, inflaming communal passions and deliberately engineering a spiteful plan to defame a particular community. Have we not been witnessing a systematic strategy to malign a specific minority community, all in the name of Hindi and Hindu, bigotry and fanaticism? It is almost equivalent to brainwashing the gullible people into believing in a sensational equation: Sanatani Hindutva is equal to hatred for Muslims. A vast number of non-Hindus and non-Hindi speakers work tirelessly for the progress of our country. They work as engineers, professors, scientists, businessmen, entrepreneurs, as well as drivers, vendors, tailors, laborers, etc. They are honestly engaged in their occupation, serving the nation, earning their livelihood, and by no stretch of imagination could they be called criminals or terrorists. On the other hand, it is quite possible for a Hindu criminal to be a law minister, or a fake Hindu godman to hoodwink the innocent with a Hindu village concept. Every community has its share of angels and rogues. There is no problem with Hindus or Muslims or Christians or Sikhs or Parsis or Buddhists. The problem lies with power-hungry, greedy politicians who feel insecure if all the communities live in peace and harmony. For those who engage in unlawful activities, we have the police and the court, and it is dangerous to let fanaticism pass communally biased judgments on the merit of persons simply based on their caste or religion. India is a great nation. We have to live together as proud Indians without being misled by wild propaganda of the cunning and ruthless, evil-minded politicians.